Access granted.
Subject: interview with Brian Flynn from SUPER7. Body: on April 18th, 2023, Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic80, was tasked with the mission of interviewing the awesome Brian Flynn from SUPER7 about their brand new G.I. Joe reveals for April the 1st, Ultimates Wave 4, and much more. Here's what we could show you from that G14 classified recording.
Access granted.
Hello and welcome to the Full Force Redacted, brought to you by GeneralsJoesReborn.com with me, Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic80. On the show today, we have the highly anticipated interview with the awesome Brian Flynn from SUPER7 to chat about the brand new wave of G.I. Joe Ultimates figures, the awesome April 1st Cobra Escape Pack, and much, much more. Brian, thank you so much for spending the time to do this with me yet again. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I find the whole phrase highly anticipated to be a stretch for all of us, but I appreciate it. For the three people listening to me, because there's hundreds and thousands that listen to Chris.
I get it.
The three that are listening to me, highly anticipated.
I guarantee you switch those numbers around for reality on that one.
No.
I'm telling you now, this is a highly anticipated one. Lots of people have been asking about
highly anticipated.
Highly anticipated.
We need to get like the Punkmaster Flex thing in here. We go while we're doing this.
I'm adding that. That's going in there. Amazing. Well, Bud, it's been a while, but you're becoming a bit of a regular on this show now. This is the fourth interview we've done.
Yeah. Let me. Hey, Brian, you want to talk about toys for an hour? Oh, let me see if I can fit that.
I'm
into
busy.
My schedule. Yeah,
I'm busy talking about toys in another situation.
Exactly.
Let's start, because obviously we are talking toys.
Yeah.
Let's start with that surprise April 1st Cobra Escape Pack, which you almost accidentally revealed during our last interview, can I say?
Yes, I almost did, didn't I?
That was amazing. I had to blur the screen and everything. The set is so much fun, and of course highlights the scene at the end of the Pyramid of Darkness miniseries when the Cobra High Command have to evade capture by donning convincing disguises. Question
No,
mark?
it's not convincing, because the Mutt's dog pulls the cloak off Cobra Commander, and then they all laugh and let him escape.
Exactly.
That's how you know it's an 80s cartoon.
Yeah. What I love about it is the fact that, and this happens like a lot through the Sunbow cartoon. It's the helmet stays on, but everything else is the disguise. I love that.
You'd never notice it.
I love that.
There's in Japanese tokusatsu, there's a guy called Robot Detective KGK.
Yeah.
Who's a robot detective. He puts on a trench coat and a hat. It's just a guy asking questions. Oh no! Wait, it's a robot. I would have never noticed that. It's like, really?
It's great because you have it with Destro as well, who's dressed as a city worker, but there is his mask in full view.
His metal
Beautiful.
face, yeah.
And obviously,
no one's going to notice it.
Obviously, Snake Eyes has done it in the multiple times. You've already done a Snake Eyes with a disguise as well, which is incredible.
Yeah, exactly. I put on a snakeling hat. Nobody knows it's me.
Exactly. The set, it really feels like SUPER7, like a SUPER7 special, shall we say, something that you wouldn't really see anywhere else. But has this been one that you've wanted to do for a long time now?
I think we just talked about how ridiculous it is, right?
Yeah.
There's certain moments of ridiculousness. The Cobra Escape Pack is one.
Yep.
Shipwreck and Snake Eyes and everybody dressed up as the band is another. The Dreadnoughts and their rock and roll. There's a little bit where you're just like, there are moments of ridiculousness, if you will. And so we were just trying to figure out like what this could be. And I don't know, this one was just one we just thought was just, no one was going to see it coming, especially if they had any ideas after what we did last April Fool's.
Yeah.
Is what were they going to expect?
Right.
So they're going to expect us. People almost expected us to do the Snake Eyes.
Okay.
I think that was what most people were going to be like, oh, they're totally going to make Snake Eyes and everybody dressed up, in
like the Saturn's band. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Is that that's got to be on the cards at some point, though, hasn't it?
And
Brian?
have the dog dancing. I keep saying the dog like I don't know his
Timber.
name. Just,
but I mean, that's got to be on the cards at some point, hasn't it? Or are you doing that thing where it's like people expect one thing, you want to go the other direction a little bit?
It's not so much that I'm trying to just mess with people, because that would be messing with people. I think it was just like, let's really keep surprising people at least for now.
Right.
Like, oh man, I didn't know that I needed that, or I didn't know that I wanted that, because it had never entered into my mind.
Totally.
Like that's where we went. Well, like, I don't think anyone's ever thought about this.
It's
sort
cool.
of like, it's we can't do it because of the scale. But like we've talked about a bunch of times, like where Tomax and Zaymont and everybody, and they go out and it's a giant water robot.
Oh my God, I'd love the water robot. Yes.
Yeah,
but it's
like,
huge, isn't
it?
To
make it in scale for 3 3/4, it would. How many people would be like, oh yeah, you remember that water robot?
Do you think? I mean, I know it wouldn't be in scale, would it? But like, is that something that you could probably slot into the Super Cyborg line? Do you think, for a bit of crossover fun?
Theoretically, you get into those moments where it's a moment, and technically, yes, it happened. The question is, do enough people are like, oh yeah, or are they like, oh
yeah,
that's neat, but don't need it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, technically that happened. Yes, you are correct, but
I do agree with that one. I would the water robots are fun, but it's like it is also like one of the shortest lived characters on screen, or the shortest lived thing from G.I. Joe on screen. It's just in that one scene underwater, and then that's it. You never see them again. So that's the other kind of aspect of it, isn't it? It's how iconic I think a lot of these things are. I think the fact that this 3-pack is Destro, Baroness, and Cobra Commander, I mean, that must have had a significant role to play here in making that decision of doing this, right? Because of the main characters.
Well, they're main characters. There's only 3 of them, so it works really well as a set.
Yeah.
As you start to talk about some of these random moments, you're like, okay, well, what's the theme? How do we package it up? When you talk about April Fool's Day, especially, it's really about, you've got to be kind of in on the joke.
Right.
It can't be a joke product. It can't be making fun of something, because then it's just mean.
Right.
So that's where we came back with this was, you're all kind of in on the joke, and they're in on the joke. And then we just tried to really take the rest of the theme, build out the subway car.
It's cool. I love the packaging, mate. The packaging is gorgeous. Is that something that you guys had you envisioned this beforehand? Have you kind of like when you were thinking about this? Is this what you envisioned packaging wise, or was it kind of like an evolution of design kind of thing?
No, it's pretty much what we had in mind. We were like, okay, we could package it in a subway car, but we'll make it on the 3-pack. The only thing that was not intentional at first, but then we changed, was just like,
I love
the New York subway system, where it was Baroness, Cobra, Destro.
Brilliant.
And it was like, oh man, we can make it BCD. That's kind of cool. We didn't expect that.
That's great. And the graffiti as well is pretty cool as well. Like the fact you've got that like dotted around to kind of little homage nods and stuff like that, which is really fun. Yeah, exactly. No Joes and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point is to have fun with it, have a moment, and that's where we're at.
Awesome. It's great. Look, it was a really it was one of those surprises. Honestly though, I definitely think this was on my mind at some point for Super 7, because I just think when I think Super 7, I'm thinking Sunbow, and I'm thinking kind of the kind of not necessarily ridiculous, but definitely, like Saturn's Band springs to mind, and other aspects of the cartoon that are so iconic to the actual animation, that I expect as well. Like I expected some sort of radioactive Snake Eyes. When we first started talking about Super 7 having the G.I. Joe license, the first thing we discussed was glow in the dark and aspects like that, and we all were saying, yeah, like radioactive Snake Eyes would make sense, wouldn't it? And lo and behold, reaction, radioactive Snake Eyes. So it was like,
and he glows red.
Oh, brilliant, just awesome. Again, like a great little touch as well, and it's things like that I'm really digging about both reaction and ultimates for these little kind of touches. It's just great. One thing I will say though about this 3-pack, The twins in their suits appear in that scene as well, like in the subway car.
They do. They do.
This might be one of those things where it's like, well, just have to wait and see. But had you been considering this as maybe a 5-pack, or was that because, like, we had the Pyramid of Darkness set, which was quite extensive. I know that was more like. Also, that extensive wasn't a pun on Extensive Enterprises, by the way. But no, that the Pyramid of Darkness set was like SDCC, so I get the exclusivity kind of side of that. Did that come into it, maybe?
There's a fine line between some of these things, which is how long is the lead time for them?
Right.
How long can you sell them for? And you're having to overcome tooling per figure.
Of course.
So the more expensive I make the set, the less people buy it.
Right, I see. So there wasn't... okay, I get you on that.
At a certain point, it was like, if we make it a 5-pack and it's 5 figures of all new tooling, now it's going to be $100. How many people are going to want all of that? And I think we just sort of came back to that's that scene. And if people come back later on Tamox and Zomat and they're like, oh, I really love that, it's always something we can come back to, but there's always a question of how much you can bite off at any one time.
Right.
And in the aspect of some of the other sets, there's at least with the Cobra Escape pack. Oh, sorry, that's that one.
Yeah.
With the one from San Diego.
Yeah.
There's an aspect of army building there still.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, true. I was basically hoping you'd slip up and tell us that Tomax and Zaymot were coming as in suits for a different wave, and then obviously they can all go together in a nice little complement. But that hasn't been said,
maybe,
so I'm just
one day.
I'm just going to assume that it's going to happen at some point. Anyway, thank you for that, Brian. Are these your favourite versions of these particular characters, by the way? Because I think that Cobra Commander might actually be mine, honestly.
No, it's not. They're not my favorite versions of these characters, and I only say that because the Cobra Commander in the next wave, I think we talked about this last one.
Yeah.
But the Cobra Commander in the next wave is my favorite version of Cobra Commander.
I'm excited for that. Also,
well, it's gonna be it's a deep cut.
Oh my god, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that's going to be. Right, Brian, we've had some reaction listings leaks recently. Tiger Force and Python Patrol is what we've had.
Yes.
We've had listings for, I think, 4 Cobra figures. I think it's Baroness, Cobra Commander, Destro, and the Bat for Python Patrol. And we've also had Tiger Force listings for Snake Eyes, Duke, and Scarlet. I believe that's what we've had so far.
There's one more for Python Patrol.
There's one more for Python Patrol.
Wait.
Or one with Tiger Force. There's one more for... Yeah, start again.
Sorry.
Do that again.
No, I completely messed that up. Right now, everybody watching this is going, he doesn't know anything about G.I. Joe. Like, no, it's Tiger Force, and it is a figure that I think no one is expecting.
Wow.
I think that people are going to be very excited by this one. It's going to come out of left field, right field. It's going to come out of one of the fields.
It's one of the fields it'll come out.
One of the fields. Depends. Like, I mean, we're going to come down the third base line or the first base line. We're coming out of the outfield and heading to the pitcher's mound.
But it will be a home run.
Out of one of the fields.
But it will be a home run. It will be a home run at the end of the day, right?
I think it's going to be a figure that everybody's going to be like, oh, they went there.
Amazing.
And then there will be a 9th figure that is exclusive at Target.
Wow. How is it that you've just given us even more leaks? You're the boss, right? You're allowed to do this, right? It's
not that far away. I think they come out in June.
That's even cooler. We're getting so much information right now. This is brilliant.
June. They come out in June.
That is fantastic.
So, we're 6 weeks away.
I'm actually going to quickly check. I think it was on BBTS they dropped the other day as well. So it's like everyone should know by now.
If they've got the listing somewhere in there, there's one figure they have forgot to list.
Tiger.
See, now everybody can get worked up. Like, what's it going to be? What's that other one? What's the missing Tiger Force figure?
So that's awesome. That's great. So guys, all right, whoever's digging for listings, you've got one more to find because you'll never find the target. The target one is like. That is like you guys do so well in making that the kind of like on-shelf reveal. I find unless it's on the back of the card, which has happened a few times. But like with the Ninja Coup and
at
Ninja
this point,
Viper.
it gets tricky because the card won't hold all the pictures anymore. So it's usually just waves.
So now it's all going to be spoilers now for the next wave. I hope that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for filling us in with even more Tiger Force and Python Patrol. But before we move on, though, I think it's a good question to ask you guys. What made you go and do? Because this sounds to me, because this is very much a SUPER7 twist on Python Patrol and Tiger Force, because these are characters other than Duke who have never really ventured into those subgroups, and the Bat as well, which recently was introduced in Classified. So what can you tell us about what can you tell us about this?
It's one of those things where a lot of people have asked us about Python Patrol and Tiger Force and about, if we would get more stuff in that style. And I don't know, what wave is this? 6?
307,900.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at, I don't have it listed by waves on my sheet, so that's not helping anybody here.
So with that's going to be like an actual full-on reaction wave kind of style. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and I suppose that's a nice way to get like a little subgroups out there as well, isn't it? In that sense as well.
Yeah. So I mean, the way that those are set up, as we've talked before, there's 4 Cobra figures and there's 4 Joe figures. So
brilliant.
That's why immediately I knew which one you were missing.
That's fun. I can't wait to find
out.
And
it turns out to be the one that's going to be the biggest surprise. So.
I can't wait. Is so again, these are characters that haven't been in those subgroups before, bar obviously, like I said, Duke and the Bat. Was this a kind of moment for you guys to kind of go, well, let's see what it would be like if, say, these characters in the Sunbow series were in Tiger Force? Is that kind of where you're going with it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. Oh, I can't wait, man. I cannot wait. Can you just reveal them now? Just joking. Right.
Should I? Could I? I could, but I'm not gonna.
No, I think we've got. I just got
the list yesterday. What am I missing?
Keep some secrets.
Keep some secrets.
Well, let's move on then to Ultimates Wave 4 reveals, because wow, they were amazing. So we were absolutely convinced that the teaser you posted with the Cobra in a basket related to Zartan, and it was actually for the Black Costume Baroness. And of course we did get Zartan, but that was only by luck rather than judgment on our part there. The lineup is super strong on this one, contains a lot of heavy hitters for the Sunbow cartoon. But what made you go with these particular characters? Because I know in the past you kind of want to spread them out a little bit, but this seems like bang, 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 like 4 absolute gunners.
I think that's actually everybody's perception. Like, some people be like, oh, this wave is all bangers. And they're like, I don't really like that guy. And then the next wave is like, these are all bangers. And it's like, I don't like that guy. I think that's your perception.
That's me.
I'm glad that you like.
It's amazing. I mean, Gung Ho is huge in the Sunbow cartoon. Gung Ho is a vibrant, iconic character, isn't he? Stalker, so synonymous.
Let's talk about this for anybody that doesn't understand. The reason that he does not have the USMC tattoo is because that is owned by the Marines, not by Hasbro, and those two things do not match, which is why the characters evolved into a different tattoo. So everybody just like Threads, like, where's the Marine tattoo? And it's just like, is this some woke bullshit? He doesn't need to evolve. And it's like, no, you got to pay extra money for that. And they're not interested in taking our money. So
that is a very good insight, though. Like, that's nice to know. I actually didn't have that down as a question. So I've failed you and the fandom there. But my question about Gung Ho is completely irrelevantly unrelated to that. I love the homage accessories you put in with these. I've always enjoyed that kind of process of working out which is which, and I'm usually stumped by one, and in this case it's Gung Ho, and it's the headband head. What episode is that from? Do we know?
Headband head. It might actually be a comic reference.
That makes so much more sense if that is the case.
I need to go back and go, where did we pull that one? You have to remember that while you guys are seeing it right now,
this is about 10 years ago, wasn't it?
10 months ago. So I'm like, where did we pull it? Because we start with a much larger group of accessories and cut down. I think because in the cartoon, he really doesn't have, it's just like smiling face, grumpy face. That's about all you get with Gung Ho.
Yeah.
He's pretty. His character doesn't change a whole ton. I think the headband head came out of the comics, but I do think there's also an episode where he's in a tank and he comes out of the tank and he's not wearing his hat.
I'm gonna honestly, I've looked at every episode. It must be on one of those things where I look away for 5 seconds and he goes boink and there he appears.
There's just a brief moment, but I don't think it's the moment where he's in the tank. I think it comes out of the comic book. But okay. I'm gonna double check and get you that answer. Why don't I do this? I could text somebody.
Do it.
I could text somebody.
Cheat.
I'm gonna phone a friend.
Do it. There you go. You get 3 lifelines during these interviews.
I get 3 lifelines.
Phone a friend. 50-50. Right, I'll give you a 50-50 later as well. And then the other one is, I don't even know what the other one is. I forget what that is. Everyone will have to let us know in the comments. What's the 3rd lifeline in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I don't know.
No, I can't remember. I will cut this out, by the way. He'll make it really quick.
You can leave in the phone a friend part.
Yeah, well, that's all staying in.
That's all staying.
Yeah, that's all staying in.
So now the lights have come down and it's making the music while I wait for the text to come back. So we're gonna circle back on
we'll come back to that
lifeline.
We'll come back to that. I love that. That's brilliant. Next up, then, this is another important one and does relate to a little kind of past situation where you posted for the reaction Zartan, shall we say, initially that he would have color change feature, and then obviously had to backtrack, and that was removed and all that kind of stuff. Can we confirm now that this Zartan has color change? Amazing.
Yes, he does. He does indeed have color change. I think we have a GIF of him changing colors that's out.
Yeah, it's
he does change colors.
Amazing.
Because if he doesn't, then everybody's like, why does Zartan suck?
I've actually heard from a lot of people, a lot of comments saying this is the ultimate Zartan because of that and because of all the accessories and the actual figure itself. It is ripped from the cartoon perfectly, isn't it? I mean, this Zartan is just phenomenal.
I would tend to agree with you. That's how we ended up here.
In terms of the color change, how difficult a process is that to actually implement on a figure? Because we spoke in the past, you told me it was a difficult kind of thing. It was an expensive endeavor. I
think we're doing this as a UV color change rather than a temperature color change because I don't think anybody wants to stick this in their freezer. But sort of like how we did color change Lino.
Yes.
If you saw that we did that, frozen Lino, where if you took him out into the sun, it changed to orange. Or doing the same thing. So when you take him out into the sun, he'll change to
the blue,
that kind of purple color that he is.
Oh, that's so good. And is it kind of painted on, or is it the actual plastic that changes color?
It's a paint. It's
right.
A paint.
Okay. I just wanted to. I think we do get a few of these questions sometimes, and I can never really truly say on yes or no.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is if you're talking about the plastic, and I realize yes, they did it back in the day. These days, making sure that color change agent is equally distributed through the plastic uniformly and continues to work is a lot harder than managing it in paint in the isolated areas,
right?
Rather than trying to say like, hey, his whole arm, every single piece, and it's like making sure because they're all injected at different times,
right?
Making sure they're all the exact same densities and everything versus like finishing it and then putting in a color change paint. The color change paint will make our lives
a lot easier. Yeah. Either way, it's just nice that figure does that, and I think that is one of the things. I think you're always going to get the fan thumbs up on that one when he does do that. Have we got an answer? Has your friend responded?
I got a part of an answer.
Oh, I see.
So I'm getting clarification.
Okay, good. We'll come back to we'll come back and we'll do a 50-50 in a second. Speaking, this is not 50-50 at all. But it's a 50-50 whether you'll know the answer to this or not. But the Baroness, amazing again, beautiful figure. Amazing head sculpts, but I have to say I love the flowing hair one. I love the Rattler helmet. Just so many interesting takes. And again, what I love about it is you've thrown in an alternate head sculpt that appears in one kind of split-second scene of an episode, and I think that is just great that happens. But she comes with so many cool things from so many episodes. One of them is the camera. Now, that is a gun in the opening scene of the Great Alaskan Land Rush, I believe. Is that actual accessory, does it have like an extender, or does it have a long...
No, it doesn't have an extender on it.
Oh, okay.
It's not telescoping.
Okay. There isn't like an attachment for it or anything like that?
I think we talked about... I'm trying to remember like where we ended up with it. I'll have to double check if it's... It'd be cool to add back in, but I know that we were like having to simplify our want list.
I imagine that would have been a pain as well, obviously. And it makes more sense for it to be hidden, I suppose, as well in the camera form.
All right. But so
here we go.
I did get the answer, and then he said it's an homage. And the moment he sent it, I was like, I can't believe I got that. It's actually because there wasn't much to do with Gung Ho.
Right.
If you look at the 92 and 93 figures, V3 and V4, they both have headband heads.
Unbelievable. You see, some people messaged me and said, do you think it's got anything to do with the later figures with this headband? And I'm like, that's an opportunity. It's a possibility, but I don't think so, because Super7 are usually very specific.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I'm trying to remember all the discussions. Like, I know that there's a scene in the cartoon where he comes out of a tank and he's not wearing his hat.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, is that significant enough? And I think we looked at some stuff from the comics, and it wasn't same thing. It wasn't different enough. And it's like, Gung Ho isn't really like, smiles. And we were just like, we need something that is different enough from the head that he has on here. So when we have it, it's different. And in the end, we ended up at the toy. That's so funny, because the moment he said it, he was like, no, it's not based off the... I was like, it's comic, right? He's like, no. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's only half the answer. Then it was like, no, it's here. And it's like, oh, God.
No, that's great.
So the reason we ended up with the toy reference on that head was simply because what else can we do for Gung Ho?
I do have one option though for that. You might have to do this. You have to do this in an accessory pack further down the line. In fact, you could do it in an accessory pack because it fits more than one character. The chef hats they wear in Let's Play Soldier, because I think it's Gung Ho, Leatherneck, and I can't remember who else is in that group, but they come out of the kind of like the back, the kind of the kitchen, and the Dreadnoks are in there and everything, and they're like making a mess and making a fools of themselves, and they come out with like the frying pans and everything, and they're all wearing chef hats. You see, that's what we need to have. We need to have chef hats in an accessory.
The pack. Chef hats. All right,
done.
We'll get onto the chef hats, and then we can have a tag team with them and the Swedish Chef from the Muppets.
There you go. Right. Finally, you included kind of like a rather fun addition to those who pre-order the entire wave from the Super7 web store. Could you tell us a little bit more about why you decided to throw this accessory super pack in with the figures?
Well, there's a couple things going on here. First off is it's not officially announced yet because we've got to get some other out. But anything that you... from now going forward that you order on Super7, you will be the first to get it mailed to you.
Oh, okay.
Like, where typically in the past, sometimes we're the last people to ship out sometimes. Sometimes we're in the middle. Very rarely are we the first. So one of those things that we're really looking at this year is really making sure that if you buy from us, that you will get your figures before anybody else.
Okay, cool.
So that is a goal of ours, and it should be. I ordered them directly from you. Like, come on, guys. Right. And then secondly, I'm not trying to sound completely kish, I don't think, but let me back up.
Let me sound
as I scoot forward. Right, I'm doing the opposite. Reality is, people are buying less toys now than they were a year or two ago.
Right.
I don't think that's lost on anyone, right?
No.
During the pandemic, people bought more toys than they're buying now. Inasmuch, every time I sell a toy versus sell it at wholesale to another partner, obviously that means there's more money in here. So if I'm going to sell less of future waves, especially, and then as I get deeper into waves, wave 4, wave 5, wave 6, wave 7, sales also naturally get smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
So for me to keep doing things that I want to do and lines that I want to do, one way to help make it more feasible is to have more people buy from me than to buy from other people.
Right.
That said, I don't like the approach that many places take where it's like, if you order from me, there's an extra head in the box.
Right.
When you do that, anybody else buying it from anywhere else, you're like, oh, well, I didn't get everything.
Right.
Even though I showed up late, I bought from somebody else. So I want to make the figure that you're buying, whether you're buying it from me or another retailer, exactly the same. But what is the incentive to buy from me?
Right.
Well, the incentive is going to be, you're going to get your figure first. And then if you buy the set, there's a bonus pack.
Yeah.
And the bonus pack has a few weapons that can relate to each character and stuff like that, that you can use for play and display and everything else like that. But you're not losing something if you still buy my product someplace else. Does that make any sense?
No, I see what you mean. Yeah, so it's kind of like, it's a little extra bonus, but at the end of the day, you're talking, like you said, like, repainted items that already exist within the line and stuff like that. Yeah, I get that.
Like here's a way that I can affordably add a little bit of value for your purchase if you come buy with me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not shortchanging a customer that isn't buying from me.
In a related kind of situation there, we had a few comments and messages from international fans, including people in Canada, who were saying, like, I think they were a little bit kind of upset because they couldn't get everything because of the price on top of, shipping and customs and all that kind of stuff. Is there a thought going forward to do those kind of incentives for international kind of buyers, or is there a thought to kind of expand so that in distribution and stuff like that?
We're trying to sort that out. Obviously, this is the very first one. We're like European customers, like that's a different thing. Like, so do we have a specific partner in Europe that can offer something, and then what's the trade-off there? Canada is always so hard because it's sort of like, yes, it's technically a foreign country, but I don't think anybody considers it one. No. It's just like it's another state. But we don't have a good answer on that. I'll be honest. I don't have a good answer on that.
Yeah.
Right now, we've been trying to sort out what that answer is for Europe, because ideally, you're going to see something like that for, here it is for G.I. Joe. Here it'd be the same thing for a wave of Turtles or a wave of Power Rangers, or something similar. Just like, what is the benefit from buying from Super7?
Right.
What is the benefit to hanging out with us and supporting us? And we want to be able to give people a little something like, hey, if you do come here, here's an extra bonus.
Totally. Yeah.
Another thing that we're working on that we don't have done yet is a monthly shipper option.
Okay.
Where you can kind of coalesce all your shipping and just have it send out once a month rather than per order.
Okay.
So
that's great.
Almost done with that too. Brilliant. We're trying to make it easier for people to order from us.
Yeah. The rest of the world doesn't always make that easy though. Like, you can have the best intentions, can't you?
Expensive as hell these days.
Goodness, it dramatically rose and then just kept going. It
kept going, and the reality, the funny part is, when you go across outside of the country, shipping it over to us is actually cheaper than it is shipping it out to them.
Yep.
Like, U.S. shipping is abhorrent compared to that. There's actually some people I know that have fulfillment companies. We looked into this once and it was just too complicated. They ship everything into not Juarez, sorry. I'm blanking on the name. Right, just south of San Diego, right in Mexico.
Tijuana.
Tijuana. They ship everything there, and they do all their fulfillment from Tijuana because the price to ship from Tijuana into the U.S. is less than if they do it in the States.
That's crazy. So they're almost smuggling it in.
One of the biggest skateboard manufacturers in the world has a wood shop in San Diego and a wood shop in Tijuana for the same exact reason.
Wow. It's trying to find loopholes, but legally, obviously, in that sense. But yeah, it does get pretty bad though. Like shipping in general is phenomenally high, and I feel like the quality of actually does the product make it, or does it make it in good condition, hasn't either changed or has dropped. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the graph there is, they're not parallel. It's not like the quality is continuing with the price of shipping. So
you're not getting white glove service for your $60 box.
No.
Like, whenever somebody asks me about that, I'm like, just walk down to the post office and try to send a box. Even those like priority mail, flat mail, like pay one price box, it's still like $20 for a box this big.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Shipping has gotten outrageously expensive. We're trying to sort that out. We're on a tangent now, but so to those people in Canada, I don't have an answer for you yet, but I do know that you have a problem. Same thing with everybody in Europe.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to sort these things out, but it's a little bit of like you start and then you refine rather than trying to make it perfect and getting it out there. We just wanted to get it going.
Totally.
Obviously, with G.I. Joe specifically, while there are a lot of international fandom, it is still very much a U.S.-based audience.
It's niche US, UK, everywhere, Brian.
Australia. But
it's niche everywhere, isn't it, basically, G.I. Joe?
I'm just going to say this, that maybe there are reasons that other places of the world don't actually really like a U.S. fighting-based thing, that it's quasi-military. Just there might be reasons that other countries don't like that.
I would imagine. Although, funny enough, growing up as a kid, I blooming loved it, and it was still, obviously they had to rebrand a lot of it to a degree, like change the birthplaces of a lot of characters as well. So we always thought Lady J was Irish. We thought Flint was from Lincoln. We thought Wild Bill was from Hull. If anyone has ever been to Hull, by the way, you will find that Wild Bill being attached to that place is the most hilarious juxtaposition of anything ever.
That was somebody there who was like, I hate those dudes. Like, how do we make fun of them?
Exactly. Exactly. Anyway, let's coming speaking of shipping, actually, but not because we want to get away from the doom and gloom of everything. Updates on Wave 2 and Wave 3 of Ultimates. Any changes on that, or is it the same as the last email that went out?
No, Wave 2 starts to arrive in a couple weeks, like 2 weeks.
Isn't it? It's late
I think
April,
it's
wasn't
2
it?
weeks for us. I think it's in the next 2 weeks for us and about 4 weeks for everybody else.
Fantastic.
But I think,
Here we go.
Here we go.
So,
see, hold on. Serial number.
Nice.
Wave 2.
Nice.
Wave 6. There we go. It's upside down. I have to remember.
There you go.
So,
GI
Wave
W2.
2.
Baroness
1.
Yep. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. Look how good she looks in that blue, man. Blue Man group. That looks fantastic.
Those green glasses.
Yeah.
And then here's Destro.
Oh, what?
How big he is.
That is fantastic. You see, the most excited I am for that is the lava head with the sander.
The burnishing thing. Yeah.
Genius.
Got to polish that face.
Genius. Yeah, very excited. Oh, we got more. We got the other couple coming up. My favourite, Lady J, looking great. Oh, Lady J looks amazing.
Yeah. These covers are making it
look
very.
She looks great. She looks fantastic. Very excited.
She does look fantastic, actually. And I'm not saying that just to say that
because it's yours. My favourite of all time, though, you've got Flint, right? There he is. Look how good that pistol looks. Oh, Flint, just dream world. That is the ultimate best thing ever. See, I was a huge Sunbow fan as a kid, massive Sunbow fan, and we had the VHS Action Force dubbed episodes. We didn't have it on TV. It wasn't on syndicated or anything like that. But on the VHS tapes, loads of Flint. It was all like loads of Flint episodes. Flint's Vacation, Worlds Without End. Flint and Jay were the main characters basically for us in the UK and the comics and everything. So yeah, really excited for that wave. Cannot wait. Couple of weeks, guys.
I'm excited. What's that?
Couple of weeks. I'm just telling the listeners and viewers.
Yeah. A couple of weeks. No, I'm excited for people to get them in the hand. I think, everybody was, I think, suitably impressed, happy, whatever, with wave 1. And then I think when they get wave 2, even more so. Because then you really start to fill out a shelf. They start to come together and you're like, okay, now this is becoming a collection.
You must have been really happy with the response to wave 1 when it finally hit, because all I saw was positive. I didn't see, there was very rarely negative that I saw from my point of view.
I saw very little negative, which was very nice. That said, there were some critiques, but for the most part, people were like, no, this is good. This is on point.
Yeah.
There are microscopic things that I noticed that no one else will notice that are only because of my perceptions of things, not even the perception of reality sometimes. But no, they turned out really, 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 really good. And I think that this wave 2 will be even better.
Cannot wait.
That Lady J is great.
They all look so good, man. Like I can't even... And I'm so excited to bust wave 1 out. So excited. Right, finally.
Yeah, you gotta get on that.
I know I do.
Clearly.
I'm behind on so many things. And yeah, that is definitely a priority, definitely. Right, so finally, I wanted to run one more little question by you.
Okay.
With SDCC not that far away, and I say that because I know you guys have to prepare for like the entire year usually. Are we likely to see something G.I. Joe related in much the same way that we saw the Cobra Recruitment Center, or are you kind of keeping...
I thought we talked about this already.
I think we talked about it off camera.
Did we talk about it off camera?
I don't think we discussed it.
People are like, wait, there's that he knows about that he's not telling us? No, we are definitely having a G.I. Joe event. So last time was the Cobra Recruitment Center last year.
Yes.
So now you're in Cobra, right? So now it's time for Cobra's international operations.
I'm in Cobra right now. Look, got the...
See?
There you go. Just thought I'd prove it.
So yes, Cobra International Operations is coming to San Diego Comic-Con.
Wow. This is new information, isn't it? Like you just revealed it.
I think I was on one with the guys that run one of the G.I. Joe fan clubs, and I think I mentioned it with them. I don't know if I gave them the title though.
How dare you? How dare you give exclusives to other G.I. Joe related shows?
I'm not giving anybody exclusives. I'm just yapping about stuff, and I don't think about whether or not it's out there or not. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. We're getting close. We're making it.
That's amazing. Very excited for that because obviously SDCC last year was phenomenal, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah. So
the recruitment center and everything.
Like I said, now that you're in Cobra, it's time to go to work.
Wow. And I'm hearing a lot of I imagine actually a lot of merchandise to go along with that as well.
Yes. I mean, not that makes it sound so nasty.
Well, no, actually,
you're gonna make a lot of merch for that.
Well, I mean,
no. We're gonna make a collection around the event, so there will be exclusive stuff there that you can only get there, and then it's gonna be exciting.
I didn't mean it to sound like that. I was saying it in a way that was like, we're going to get a lot of cool stuff as well, right? Is really what I meant to say. Okay.
I see how you are. I see.
I've ever since you told me that thing in the break when I edited it out, I've changed as a human being. Brian,
you keep saying that. Now everybody's going to be like, well, what did he tell you?
That's why I do it. That's why I do it, just to kind of flex a little bit. They're little humble flexes.
So what we're listening now is like, all those secrets that you gave me, yeah.
I'm not telling anyone.
It's all Illuminati stuff now.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what the SDCC is all about, guys. It's Cobra Illuminati. Anyway,
Cobra Illuminati.
Brian, thank you so much, mate. We've come to the end of the interview. Thank you so much again for jumping on. I love doing these.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'll talk about G.I. Joe or toys or whatever anytime you want.
Fantastic. Right, the next episode will be next week, guys. We'll be asking
next week. We'll be back with more that Brian's not supposed to talk about.
More reveals from Brian that he's not allowed to do, even though it's his company. He can do what the heck he wants. No, it's always always
never that easy.
Is it not? Is it not? It is always such a pleasure to chat with you, mate. I've really enjoyed this again, like I said, and I said it before. Love what you guys are doing with G.I. Joe. Cannot wait to see what you have coming up. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you want to come on again. It sounds like you will.
Are you going to come to San Diego?
Do you know what? I'm actually considering it as well. I am considering that possibly. I'm going to speak to everyone that involves, and then I will let you know if I'll be there. But I am, it'd be the first time I've been. It will be the first time I've ever been to SDCC. Not the first time to San Diego.
This year's SDCC will be back to full strength. Last year's was nice to be back, but it was still definitely not the complete insanity that it's been in years past.
Right.
But like last year, what we all talked about San Diego was like, while it was very busy, we're like, I could walk to the bathroom. It was so nice. Normally it's just like, you're just not. You're not getting to do any of that.
I've done a few cons like that where it's just, you're like wall to wall with everyone like this mainly, and you're in a massive event center like the Excel in London.
It's not, the thing with San Diego is it's not just the event. When it's in its heyday, if you will, which it should be, I think, again this year.
Yeah.
All of downtown San Diego is taken over by activations as well. So it's not just about the convention. It's about, you're in it 24 hours a day. You go to breakfast and you're in it. You go here, you're in it. Like everything is in it. Like the craziest thing I used to talk about is they used to take over the baseball stadium. They'd kick the Padres out.
Wow.
They would turn the baseball stadium. So imagine like a, 40, 50,000 feet or baseball stadium. The whole infield and outfield was turned into a maze, and it was zombies. And you could pay $40 and you had an hour to see if you could survive to the end, get out of the maze full of zombies. Or you could pay $10, get a popcorn and sit in the stand and watch.
That is brilliant.
But that's the scale that San Diego goes on. So when people are like, oh, I've been to New York, it's like, it's not the same. When you leave New York Comic-Con, you're in Manhattan.
Yeah.
When you leave the convention center in San Diego, you're still in it.
Now I know you're based in that kind of out that way. Would you kind of
San Francisco?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So would you go home between or would you stay? Do you stay there in hotel kind of thing?
This is a gross misunderstanding of the scale of California.
Which is hilarious because I've actually spent a lot of time in California.
Like if you drive it and you don't hit bad traffic in LA, it's a 9 to 10 hour drive.
Why did I think they were closer?
San Francisco to San Diego.
Okay, so that's a massive amount of time. Man, it's closer to Vegas than it is to San Francisco then, right? Because it's only a 4-hour drive, isn't it?
Oh, you mean from LA to Vegas?
Yeah.
If you're on the north side of LA, you can get to, it's about a 5.5-hour drive from San Francisco to LA. But then getting through LA takes another hour or two, and then it's another hour plus to get to San Diego.
Wow. Yeah, I do love San Diego, though. I've been there a few times. It's a really beautiful place. I love it. Love the weather, actually. It's like, it's not offensive in any way, like the weather. It's just like kind of like that one temperature for the most part. It's
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why. So it's our second home. That's why we have a store there.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much. I'm gonna have to come out there now. You've forced my hand.
I have to come out.
Booking the tickets now. Dude, thank you so much. Obviously, this brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you to Brian Flynn of Super7 for joining me. As always, at the end of these episodes, Brian, I'm not sure if you remember from last time, but we count to 3 and then we say full force together. I hope you remember that. Yeah, we're good. Okay. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Full force! Perfect.
Access granted.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.
Access granted.